What's going on, everyone? It is the Derf, and in today's video, I've got a double special weapon build for our favorite Void Warlock. Of course, I couldn't resist pairing a double special weapon build with the Axiom Bolt spam of Controverse Hold that has been sweeping over Guardians everywhere. This build will grant you essentially infinite healing. It will also print Orbs of Power. It will also proc Volatile constantly and give your Void weapons volatile rounds. You'll also be able to get 1 minute supers. I pretty much think I covered it. If you've been looking for a great Warlock build that centers around your favorite weapon, Choir of One, or you just want to have a build where Choir of One pretty much never is ever going to run out of ammo, this is the build for you. So hopefully you guys like the build. If you do find anything helpful in this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Make sure you share it with a Guardian in need, and hop into my Discord if you're looking for other Guardians to game with. And don't forget about the dim link in the description. Let's get it going. To get us started on our overpowered double special build, we're going to go with Nova Bomb Cataclysm, still one of the best in the business as far as instant burst DPS options. For abilities, we're going to go with Healing Rift, Burst Glide, you have Pocket Singularity, no other choices, and for this build we are going to go with Axiom Bolt because that's going to pair with our Controverse Hold. For aspects, we're going to go first up with Chaos Accelerant. Press to overcharge your grenade, making it deadlier and more effective. For our Axiom Bolt, it's going to detonate twice, and it has Enhanced Seekers. Also, all the way at the bottom, it grants an additional grenade charge. We're going to be spamming our Axiom Bolt like crazy on top of having infinite special ammo for our Choir of One. Second up is Feed the Void. Defeat a target with a Void ability to activate Devour. Your Devour effects are improved, restoring additional health and grenade energy. Final blows, restore health, grant grenade energy, and extend Devour. So when you add into this the fact that we're going to be running double special and having infinite volatile on top of this, we're going to practically have infinite Devour, which means we're going to have infinite health as well as grenade regeneration. For fragments, first up on the list is going to be Echo of Starvation. Picking up a Void Breach or an Orb of Power grants us Devour. Now, I have run this without Echo of Starvation before, and I don't know why, I just really prefer to have Echo of Starvation equipped, but you don't necessarily need this if you can proc Devour with your abilities regularly, which honestly with this build isn't that hard to do. However, I like to proc it as frequently as possible. Next up is going to be Echo of Remnants. Your lingering grenade effects, Vortex Grenade, Void Wall, Void Spike, and Axiom Bolt have increased duration. This means that the grenade overall is going to last longer. Next up, we've got Echo of Instability. Defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your Void weapons. Because we're going to be spamming our Axiom Bolt so often, we're virtually going to have infinite volatile rounds for all of our Void weapons. So when you're picking out weapons, which we'll go through here in a second for this build, on top of Choir 1, these are things to consider because every Void weapon will qualify for the volatile rounds. Last up is going to be Echo of Harvest. Defeating weakened targets creates an Orb of Power and a Void Breach. Again, Orbs of Power and Void Breaches are going to give us ability energy back, and Void Breaches specifically grant us class ability energy. I don't really care about my class ability in this build per se. However, it's just a little nice cherry on top, but I'm really interested in the Orb of Power. For stat distribution, I recommend speccing into Grenade, Weapons, and Super in that order. The melee doesn't matter in this, and the class ability does not matter in this. If I had my way, I would have 150 in grenades, 125 in weapons, and 100 in Super. That would give me 5 mod slots if I have tier 5 gear and perfect rolls to mess with plus 10 in whatever category I want. So I probably would add a couple to health. I definitely would add a couple to grenade, and I probably would add the last one to either super or to weapons. Remember, our weapon stat is going to scale with large ammo brick chance, so the higher that goes, the higher theoretically you have. So I guess technically speaking, you'd probably want to dump at least one into weapons, probably one into super, one in grenade, and then the last two you can put into whichever stats that you want. For weapons, the clear winner here is going to be Mint Retrograde. Although we are going to have virtually infinite ammo for this weapon technically as well, we're not going to be using it for really anything else other than DPS or just boss damage. So make sure you put on a Mint Retrograde that has bait and switch on it. In the energy slot, of course, Choir of One. We are going to be spamming this thing like crazy. We will never run out of ammo, and because we're going to be constantly proccing volatile, you can safely craft this with the Onslaught refit as opposed to destabilizing rounds. In the heavy slot, you got a bunch of different options that you can use. The top three I've got selected right now. Commemoration is nice because it's got Reconstruction as well as Rampage. Again, because we're going to have volatile rounds proc constantly, this will also apply to your Commemoration. Next up is going to be Faithkeeper, one of my favorite rocket launchers. There's really not much to say. It can roll. You can craft this thing with bipod and auto-loading holster. Basically, once you proc volatile, whip this thing out, shoot it at a group of enemies, shoot another one if you want. But either way, the hits that hit will proc volatile in those enemies. So if it doesn't kill them, it will create the explosion the more damage you do to the enemies. And then last but not least, Edge Transit, one of the most loved grenade launchers. You craft this thing with, max this thing out with auto-loading holster and bait and switch, and you have infinite DPS virtually the entire time you're using this thing. Make sure you throw in your backup mag. And I personally like high velocity rounds and smart drift control, but honestly, these two are the keys here. So Controverse Hold makes another appearance in yet another build video. Controverse Hold, now more than ever, is one of the most popular Void go-tos for a Warlock. It's improved charging for Void grenades under Chaos Accelerant, plus it auto-applies weaken to every target hit by it, makes this thing absolutely bonkers in higher end game content. But when it comes to farming or it comes to, a double special build like what we've got, it just makes it that much nicer because, again, everything is going to contribute to our special and heavy ammo meter, and we're going to go through it right now. For the rest of the armor, go ahead and spec into whatever ammo or whatever general armor mod that you need. In the helmet, make sure you put on one special ammo finder, one ashes to assets, and one harmonic siphon. For the gauntlets, make sure you put on triple firepower so that every axiom bolt grenade that you use generates at least one orb of power, possibly multiple. For the chest armor, go ahead and put on one elemental resistance mod and two harmonic ammo generation mods. You could make an argument to put only one on here. That is completely up to you. I have some numbers here that I really want to go through to better explain these ammo generation mods for this specific weapon. If you put on one helmet special ammo finder mod and two chest armor void ammo generation mods, you will get a special ammo brick in every 10 weapon kills. That is not counting ability kills or anything contributing to your special ammo meter progress. If you do anything else, the only thing that is slightly better than this is putting double special ammo finder on your helmet, but that really isn't what it's only going to improve it by essentially one kill. And if by chance you're like, you know what, Durf, I'm just going to max it out. I'm going to put two special ammo finders on my helmet and three harmonic ammo generation mods on your chest, you will get a special ammo brick roughly every 8 to 9 kills. So it really isn't worth the extra slot. And quite honestly, even if you drop this down to one and one will put you at about 13 kills with just your Choir 1, not counting anything else. So a little bit of mathematication for everybody out there. For the leg armor, make sure you put on your Innervation, Absolution, and put on one harmonic scavenger mod. The void weapons are going to get bonus reserves when picking up ammo used by that weapon. Yes, that also counts for your heavy. Finally, for the class, make sure you put on your class font, put on Reaper, and put on Bomber. You're not going to be spamming your class ability much in this build, but it's just a nice cherry on top to the overpowered potency of this specific playstyle. Also important to note, if you spec into last discipline armor, Every orb of power you pick up grants special ammo progress. The approximate value of that orb is going to be about 6% of the total bar. For the artifact, in the first column, make sure you have on Anti-Barrier, Scout, and Pulse. Also make sure you have on Overload, Rapid Fire. In the second column, make sure you have on Threadling Proliferation since we have Mint Retrograde. And as a added bonus, put on Diviner's Discount if you want. In the third column, make sure you put on Refresh Threads and Pack Tactics. In the fourth column, make sure you put on Elemental Coalescence for the Elemental pickups. Make sure you put on Elemental Daze because every champ we stun is going to be stunned with an Elemental weapon. There are no kinetics in this. And round it out with the Energy Acceleration. Now, this really only applies to your Mint Retrograde, but it doesn't matter. You're going to be dealing huge damage numbers regardless, so add it in there. In the fifth column, go ahead and put on Shield Crush. You're going to get increased melee recharge and damage. And quite honestly, Pocket Singularity really needs it because Pocket Singularity, in my opinion, isn't really as good as, really anything else. They could have done something way different with it. And they still could, I guess. Bungie, if you're listening. Just kidding. Anyways, and then the Elemental Overdrive is going to be key here. Picking up an Elemental Pickup or Tangle grants increased damage to weapons of the same element. So, because we're rolling with Mint Retrograde and Choir of One, anytime we pick up an Elemental Pickup relative to those weapons, make sure you exhaust your Elemental Overdrive before switching back. It's kind of a mechanic that you don't really need to follow. So you're going to if you're picking up an Elemental Pickup for the weapon anyways, chances are you are already using that weapon. So it really won't be something you have to think about. So this build right here is extremely ridiculously powerful. Once I get my goofy Festival of the Lost helmet back to normal, my stats in grenades, super, and weapons will go up, thereby making it even more powerful. But if by chance you aren't really concerned with Festival of the Lost and you're just farming, let's say you're watching this video and it isn't even Festival of the Lost time, it doesn't matter. This build, even at the reduced stats that I have in those three main stats, is still ridiculously overpowered. Again, we're getting ammo breaks every, let's just call it, I'm going to say kindly about 5 to 7 kills. And I know what I said when I was going through the armor about it being roughly every 10 kills. That's if you're just killing with the Choir of One, not picking up your Orbs of Power and not using your abilities. So factoring in Orbs of Power, factoring in your abilities, you're getting your special ammo break roughly every 5 to 7 kills, which even in a 6-man activity where, you've got everyone going for the ads at the same time, for example, it's not going to matter. Now, once you get to boss damage phases, so when you're talking about endgame content or content that has bosses, one of the other things that you're going to want to do is just be conscious of the ammo that you're using, which is also why I have Mint Retrograde with the bait and switch opportunity. So you can exhaust your Mint Retrograde with your bait and switch. Oh, I made a mistake here. Make sure you put on Temporal Blast for this build. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. The bait and switch is really, the key. You can put the abundant ammo on here to add to your ammo generation. But either way, you're going to be using Mint Retrograde immediately after your super, then switching to your heavy, whichever that one may be. If you're going into a boss situation where you need DPS, I recommend Edge Transit or Faith Keeper, whichever you prefer. So let me know in the comments what you guys think of the build. This is an excellent farming build, excellent DPS build, and of course, double special with infinite volatile abilities throughout. So whether you're farming Festival of the Lost Weapons, you're in the loot cave like what you saw me doing, or you're doing raids or something else like that, this build will work. Certainly in Pinnacle Ops activities, has in Vengeance, Beyond the Necropolis, or Below the Necropolis, virtually, Whisper, all of these are going to be excellent options for a build like this. You just have to be conscious of your ammo economy. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Let me know in the comments what changes you would make. So if you did find anything helpful in this video, please like and subscribe. If you know a gunner out there who is interested in running double special builds and also wants to have one of the best damage builds in the game right now. Make sure you share this video with them or send them my way. My goal is to help as many people as possible. As always, I will have a dim link in the video description. And if by chance you guys are looking for a non-toxic gaming community, I highly recommend jumping into my Discord. It is booming right now. A lot of people on the grind for Festival of the Lost Weapons, God rolls, all those things. We've also got Sherpas in there offering to take people through dungeons and raids, including myself. And of course, we've got new lights in there who are just excited to play. And quite honestly, that's what makes the community so awesome. So shout out to my Discord. The members are actually what make it the community. All I did was just bring like-minded people together, and I'm eternally grateful for the support that I've gotten from the community, as well as the support they've given to total strangers, quite honestly, that, you know, some friendships have definitely developed inside the community, which is awesome. So I'm going to switch back to some more build highlights, and we will wrap this up. So if you guys haven't been paying attention, which I know pretty much everyone has by this point, this is the 6th double special build that I've come out with in the last week. One of the reasons that I saved this one for last is, well, honestly, I think it is the best out of all of them. The only exception was probably the Mint Retrograde build, because honestly, Mint Retrograde is in a league of its own. There's really nothing else like that. Not that there's really anything else like Choir of One, but there really is nothing else like this Axiom Bolt Controverse Hold mixed with Choir of One style play, where you can essentially weaken everything. When you get to higher end content, weakening becomes, I don't want to use the words necessary, because obviously, I mean, nothing in the game is necessary at higher end content. It's more about your overall build and the universal capabilities and you being able to stay alive. But having infinite health because you have Feed the Void constantly proc, having infinite volatile because you are constantly, you know, spamming your grenade and your 1 minute supers, it's hard to think of one that is really going to stand out more so than this OG Void Warlock. And for very good reason. Void Warlock is not a very, I don't know, it's not a very showy style of play. It's very straightforward. You weaken everything. You have quick burst DPS. You've got 3 decent supers to choose from. And then on top of it, you've got kind of a mediocre melee, and then, you know, you've got a slew of grenades that really can find a home in virtually every Void Warlock build. The difference becomes when you are able to stay alive when everybody around you is just dying, and I'm talking endgame content. Void Warlock does it better than literally everybody else because of the immense healing you regenerate. So anyways, that's my my 2 cents. Let me know in the comments which build this week you guys thought was the most powerful. Which one are you having trouble getting into? Which one are you having trouble leaving to try some other builds? You know, I'm excited for a lot of the comments that I got this week were all about, you know, oh, derp, this build wrecks, or oh, this build does this, or this build does that. But honestly, they all have their niche, and like I said, it just seems like the Void seems to fit better in just about every activity. So let me know in the comments what you guys think, which builds are working best for you, or maybe even your top 2 builds from the week, you know, that you would regularly decide to play with. But anyways, guys, thank you guys as always for your support. I really do appreciate it. I'm sorry that it took me a little while to put out a significant amount of builds again. I was battling sickness about a week and a half ago. That just didn't seem to go away. But if you guys did find anything helpful in this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Make sure you share it with a guardian in need. Check out the dim link in the video description. And don't forget to hop into my Discord if you are looking for other gamers to pal around with in Destiny. I will see you guys next time. Thanks as always for your support. Take care.